Welcome to Keep Hustling, where we are going past the why to get to the how. I'm your host, the always hustling Aaron Gordon, aka NY Risk Advisor, aka Mr. #Keep Hustling. In this podcast, we will be diving deep into the professional and personal successes of our guests to find out how they hustled through the most difficult times in their life and their development to achieve the success they've gotten to today. So buckle up for what hopes to be an amazing ride. Let's get to it. Welcome to Keep Hustling with my guest, the one and only David Meltzer. David, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to keep on hustling with you and love to explore what that means so that people can hustle without interfering with their potential.
100%. And maybe that's a good place to start. I know your message, and I do want to go back to the beginning and find out where your hustle comes from. But your message is one, I believe, that really aligns with the whole idea of our hashtag and the whole Keep Hustling movement. And that is that I think a person can define their own hustle. So how do you define hustle? And that doesn't have to mean burnout. What does hustle mean to you?
No, not at all. Even though early on in my career, it did mean burnout. But for me, it's the ability to enjoy the consistent every day, the persistent without quit pursuit of my own potential. Not what other people want from me, not what's missing, not what I don't have, but what I want. But if you're capable of enjoying that, you will understand what hustle is, and you will keep on hustling. You'll keep on pursuing your potential to do your best, learn lessons, and have fun.
Well, how does a person tap into that? How does a person find that?
Yeah, so I think there's three ways to tap into it. One, you have to practice values. You have to be aware of your values first. So for me, the cornerstones of my hustle are number one, gratitude. In my hustle, I'm finding the light, the love, and the lessons in what I do. Forgiveness, I'm forgiving myself for the obvious mistakes that occur when you leave the learning zone and enter the anxiety zone. I also am accountable. In other words, my journey is about being responsible, attracting, and participating in a perception only keyed on finding the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. And then inspiration, the fourth, the effective communication, not only between me and others, but me and an omniscient, all-powerful source, a unified, abundant, infinite source that protects me, promotes me, and loves me more than my mommy. And so those four values is the first thing. And then you have to practice them. So I created 5 daily practices, and then you have to execute on your practice as well. So if you look at and practice values, practices, and execution model, you will have a system that will allow you to keep on hustling, to plateau and grow, to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential.
I assume that a lot of the people that you meet, and first of all, that's awesome. And I love the message. And I also love the fact that you've found, and one of the things that inspires me about following your content daily is that you have found a way to make it attainable for people. But I assume that in that 3-part process, which is obviously broken down to the first 4 and then the 5 and then executing, that you've probably experienced where people fall off of that and people get deterred and people give up on hustling. And where do you see that most? And how can those of us that are still exploring that or trying to find that balance, how can we keep hustling through that to get to that ultimate goal?
Yeah, you got to be a student of time. You got to understand the infinite time of the past, which is predicated upon the meaning you give it, the defining moments, setbacks, failures, mistakes, successes, historical relevances of the past, and then also the infinite future, which is only limited by your own self-image, your own self-worthiness. You'll never overachieve your own self-image, and then reconciled with man-made constructive time. Those who understand time, the infinite past and the infinite future, and the limitations that each of those possess, then they can utilize the 24 hours each day. By the way, you're all guaranteed 24 hours a day, every day of your life, except for the last day. You will be cheated minutes, moments, hours, your last day, but live your life with that guarantee every single day of your life, except for your last day. You're guaranteed 24 hours. So you better learn how to be productive, accessible, and gracious with time. And so where most people fall down is they either limit themselves with the past, they limit themselves with the future, or They procrastinate or feel overwhelmed with each day because they try to attach their emotions to an outcome that they can't control. So I teach people how to utilize the past to gain momentum by having the meaning that is aligned with where you want to be, to increase their self-image so they don't limit the possibilities and probabilities of where they want to be. And then, most importantly, being a student of time, to have their non-negotiables, their activity they get paid for, not paid for, they get activities they have planned and unplanned. The common denominator of all matter on earth, all man-made constructive matter, the common denominator is time. How are you putting your attention and giving your intention? What are you doing, saying, thinking, feeling, and believing aligned with where you want to be or better, predicated upon the past and the future? How are you utilizing your attention plus your intention to equal the coincidences that you want in your life? The consequences, results, and outcomes. The coincidences, the coinciding of your attention and intention is the mathematical equation of luck. And people aren't utilizing time correctly. And then they're looking and utilizing time in a trajectory that they don't want to be in, what other people want them to be in, what's missing or what they don't have. And then they're surprised when they get what other people want for them, what's missing or what they don't have. I've created a formula using a dependent variable that everyone adheres to, the 24 hours you're guaranteed to every day of your life except for the last day, and allow people to be more productive, more accessible to others, and access what you want, and more gracious. Can you ask for anything better in your journey?
Do you think that people sell themselves short because they have that incorrect view of and self-image?
Absolutely. When you think about an infinite space, when you think about an infinite, abundant, unified system of more than enough of everything for everyone, everything is limiting. And so everyone limits themselves. It's to what degree. In fact, I've gotten to a perspective of infinite behavior and infinite pursuit that I actually choose different beliefs, knowing that all my beliefs are limited because I'm not capable of understanding infinite. I'm capable of expanding my belief of what's possible, probable, or a perspective. And so I'm actually choosing each day different beliefs that are limited, but they serve me best today. And so coming to an acknowledgement that all beliefs are limiting in the context of what infinite means, but why not choose the beliefs that are aligned with or serve me best each day in alignment with where I want to be or better?
First of all, I never thought of it that way. So are you saying that the best way for a person to inspire and continue their hustle is to have a rubric of things that are their, I'll call it the guiding light or their foundations, but then very often people get stuck in, you said every single day you're evolving. So what that means is that every single day you can't say, I want this 24 hours, which I'm guaranteed, unless God forbid it's my last day on the earth, unless to be the same as yesterday. There are those core principles that we have to stick to, right?
Yeah. So, and I use time, right? Minimums amount of time in being a student, paying attention and giving intention to the activities in my day. And I start with non-negotiables. Like, think about this in a perspective building measure of expansion, aggregation, and acceleration, which creates an exponential outcome in my life, hopefully in the trajectory or the divine direction that I want to be in. So just take non-negotiables. I start with sleep. It's non-negotiable every day of my life that I am going to be an expert at sleep. 7 hours of sleep. I'm going to access information and recover while I sleep better than most people on earth. I'm going to have a mentor that I invest in, a sleep coach, which I have for 17 years, to make sure that my priority, sleep, is taken care of no matter what else. You know, and that's a fact. Then I go to family as my next one, in health. So minimum of an hour a day on my health, minimum of 30 minutes with my wife, 30 minutes minimum with my 14-year-old son, minimum of 2 minutes a day with my 3 daughters, and a minimum of 1 minute a day with my mom. 2 minutes a day every day is worth 2 hours on a Saturday. So I understand the physics, quantum physics, and metaphysics of time and how time exponentially aggregates on itself. And so under the context of non-negotiables, I basically have 7 hours of sleep, 3 hours of family, fitness, faith, finance, that in time that I study. That leaves 14 hours of awake time to hustle and keep hustling towards what I want or better. 14 hours to do whatever the F I want. And because I enjoy what other people don't enjoy. I've learned to love what other people don't love. I learned to love what other people don't like. I learned to love what I don't love, and I learned to love what I don't like consistently and persistently. Life tells me all its secrets. That bullshit statement that learn to love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life, that's bullshit. Learn to love what you do, and life will tell you all its secrets. And then life becomes easy, and then you'll love everything you do because it's easy, not dis-easy.
I love that. That's a soundbite I'm definitely going to take and replay for myself, forget about for the audience. But I think there's also something, and I've heard you say it before, I think that oftentimes people get derailed when they're chasing their quote unquote professional or personal dreams, and they lose out on the family stuff and on those times. And what I think is fascinating about what you're saying and how it inspires the hustle is that it's not actually that much time in the day, but if you allot it the same way as the sleep, right? If we're looking at the time spent on deliverables, sleep is number 2. The 14 hours of hustle is number 1. Sleep is number 2. And family, which is extremely valuable, is number 3 if you look at the total time. Yet I assume what you're saying is when you allot that time, the value of that minute goes up because you know you're going to have it. And therefore, the juice that it gives it to the engine is far greater.
Yeah, I saw my mom last night, and I didn't spend that much time with her, but I always tell her every day, because I talk to her every day at the very least, and I tell her, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I love you, and I appreciate you. I tell my mom those 4 things every day. The same way I tell my children, I'm proud of you, I love you, and I always have your back. I also tell them, do your best, learn lessons, and have fun. It doesn't take very long to tell them those things. But at its essence, and I'm a parent, so I have 4 children, I know my mom only wants to know 4 things about me. She doesn't need to hang out with me. She doesn't like to watch sports with me. She doesn't want to play golf with me. She plays Maj. I don't want to play Maj. But I'll tell you what she does want from me. She wants to know every day that I'm happy, I'm healthy, I love her and appreciate her. And that doesn't take very long. So if you want to clear the interference, it takes away all the Jewish guilt of, I haven't seen you in 10 days. Are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. That used to ruin my relationship with my mom. My mom doesn't ask me if I'm okay because every effing day I'm telling her how awesome she is for giving me this awesome life, and it doesn't take much time. And the same thing with my kids. They don't want to always, especially my 3 daughters, they don't want to do what I want to do. And so they want to know, hey, I'm proud of you, I love you, and I have your back in case shit gets serious, and I'm a good backer, right? And I also am expressing to them my wish that they do their best, that they learn lessons and have fun in anything they do. That's all I care about what they're doing. If they're doing their best at it, learning lessons and having fun, I'm excited, and it's easy. And these relationships, does it mean I only spend 2 minutes? Not a chance. I took both my daughters to the Masters. I spent about 48 hours and 72 hours with them, and we had a blast. But when we got home, I spent 2 minutes with them just to check in to make sure they were okay.
I think that I'm a father of 5, 4 daughters. So I feel like I'm going to get
right
there
with me,
very
brother.
soon to those.
I'm 3 and 1, you're
minutes.
4 and 1.
Exactly.
You're blessed.
That's a very blessed, very, very blessed. And I'm blessed to have an amazing mother, and I was blessed to have my father until I lost him a year ago. And I just want to say 2 things to you. First of all, my father, he should rest in peace. The last 12 years of his life wasn't in perfect health, and he developed a practice that whenever he spoke to his children or grandchildren, he did the exact same thing as you. He told us that he loved us and that he was proud of us. And what I've said to my children have noticed, even though they're young, is they remember that every conversation. And it's a thing that sometimes kids make fun of their parents and they say, well, why are you saying that? What, you don't have to say it. I got it. But I think that there's something that is lost in our generation that people don't realize. And I've said this over and over again on this podcast, the impact that we have on our children in the small things that we do, that they don't even realize the impact that we're having. I believe, and you don't need my approbation or whatever, but those 2 minutes, your kids are going to do the 2 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever, because it's ingrained in them, and they didn't even realize how valuable it was until they have kids of their own, and they'll be like, wow, this is gold. And when my father was traveling all over the world or doing all these speaking gigs, he took 2 minutes, not an hour, 2 minutes every single day. And they're going to do it. And that's the greatest inspiration to the hustle is you could see someone who's successful, who's had successes and failures, ups and downs, and yet they still take the time to be intentional. And that is what boosts the greatest success.
Yeah, and don't forget health, because one thing in the hashtag Keep Hustling campaign is that people forget that in order to keep hustling, you got to be healthy. If you're healthy, you will get as many wishes a day as you want, and there's nothing more valuable than a wish. But if you're unhealthy, you will only have one wish. And so the greatest advice, when I made back, I lost over $100 million, as most people who at least listen to me know. And my wife, I made it back, and I went to my wife, who, I adore, and she's my hero and my savior. But I said, what can I do for you? Anything in the world. You tell me, it's done. New house, car, plane. What can I do for you? What do you want? She said, I need you to take care of yourself. She said, if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of all of those people that you want to take care of. And so I reprioritized my health and put sleep first, exercise and nutrition. I started investing more in concierge doctors and in health than I did in my car. That was a shocker. Spend more on your car than you spend on your body. And so I started putting everything towards that. And the fact that she saw that and changed my life is just one of the many illustrations of keeping on the hustle. She knows I love to keep hustling, but she knows that, in order to hustle, you got to be a well-oiled machine. If you're going to keep hustling every day, you got to be a well-oiled machine. I have more energy than people half my age, and twice as many years from now, I'll have more energy still than all those people, because I've learned one thing. I am connected to an omniscient, all-powerful God that loves me, protects me, and promoting. All I got to do is figure out, what am I doing to interfere with it? I don't got to go get it.
Amen. I love that. I know we only have a couple of minutes left. First of all, thank you really again for being here. The inspiration. Thank you for allowing me to follow you and follow your content. We end two things. First of all, I understand that you have a free gift for our listeners.
Yeah.
To anyone. So can you, if you don't mind plugging that, and then I'll ask you my last question.
Yes, please. Yeah, please. So for your community and anyone they know, I want to give everyone, I'll sign a book, I'll send it to them, I'll pay for shipping, I'll pay for the book. So free means free with David Meltzer. It's not free, but if you give me shipping and handling, it won't be free anymore. It's free everything. Just email me directly, david@dmeltzer.com, and I will send out a book, sign it, ship it, pay for everything. And all you need to do is share my content and do good deeds yourself, and I will be a happy soul. So thank you for allowing me to share with your audience the formula to making a lot of money, helping a lot of people, and having a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. So our last question that we ask, and everyone should get the book because it's an awesome book. My last question that we ask all of our guests to leave us with is their favorite all-time or current inspirational or motivational quote and what it means to them. And again, thank you, David, for being with us.
Thank you. My favorite is always, and it's how I end most of my interviews and videos, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. And that can be on my epitaph. Kindness is so underrated, and to take it to the next level, to know, please everyone, be kind to your future self. Simply do good deeds when nobody's watching. You will, life will happen for you, through you, and through you to others as well.
David, really, thank you. The way we end this episode, which I think fits all of our episodes, that I think fits perfectly with you, is this has been another episode of Keep Hustling. Remember, do well by doing good, especially when you hear the words of the amazing David Meltzer. And thank you, and always keep hustling. All right, hustlers, that brings us to the end of another fantastic episode. Thank you for listening. The listeners are the most important part of this show. If you like what you heard, please leave us a review wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more listeners. Plus, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. We have some amazing guests and topics lined up for you, and we don't want you to miss out. And finally, if you have any suggestions, comments, or even just want to say hello, please feel free to reach out to us on all social media platforms. We are Keep Hustling Pod on Instagram, X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We would love to hear from you to continue the conversation. Thanks again for tuning in and supporting our podcast. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, stay curious, stay hungry, and keep hustling.